We also told you earlier in the day, if you were with us during our startup show, that we're going to get to as many tweets as we can. Those of you who want to know a little more information, well, Clint Jensen, KIRO 7 viewer, tweets us to ask Chip, how much is the average cost of fuel to run a hydroplane in a single full race? What kind of fuel? How much do the boats hold, and how much does it cost?
I really can't tell you how much it costs per gallon, but what's interesting is these boats run on the same stuff that your oil furnace runs on. So if you have an oil furnace and that's a diesel or a kerosene, these engines were actually built as a combat helicopter engine, and they've got a screw on them. And if you were down and run out of fuel behind enemy lines, you could put stove oil in it, you could put diesel out of a tractor in it, and it would damage the engine, but it would get you home. There's about 60 gallons burned per heat, except for the Boeing bio boat. That's run on sustainable biofuel. It's made out of camelina.
All right. Now, what we're looking at here live, the boats are in the water getting set for heats 2A and 2B. Just a bit later, what are we going to see in Heat 2A coming up?
Well, I'm seeing a pattern. The pattern I'm seeing in the heats we've seen so far is lane 2 seems to be the magic lane. The other pattern is it's looking for good, smooth water. Imagine driving your car where there's patches of ice. You know how you try to avoid that ice? That's what these drivers are doing. They're looking for good pavement, so to speak.
And so far, we have good pavement out there on the shores of Lake Washington. That water doesn't have too much of a ripple in it just yet. But again, as Rebecca said, the winds are going to kick up later in the day. They will be a problem for these planes that fly along the water. And when we come back, they will be flying. Heat 2A, unlimited hydroplane racing. When we come back, we're just getting started here at Seafair. Welcome back, everybody. Let's go racing, shall we? Unlimited Heat 2A, and here are the stories we'll be watching. Steve David in the Old Boy Alberto. He was close in 1A. How about now? Have they dialed it in? The strategy paid off for the Elam. They picked lane 2. What are they going to do next time? We're about to find out. And he won Heat 1A, did Jeff Bernard, but does he have, as they say, the beans to stay with the other fast boats? We'll find out in Heat 2A.
Heat 2A of the Chevy Cup at Seafair is brought to you by Will Robinson Chevrolet in Low Overhead Marysville and is presented for Seafair by 76. 76 gasolines reduce emissions and maximize mileage.
Here is your Muckleshoot lineup for Heat 2A. The Grandview on the Lake, Graham Trucking, Old Boy Alberto, Elstrom, Elam Plus, FormulaBoats.com, and Jones Racing. To the course we go, and you'll see that all those boats are out there on the water, some a little sooner than others. Remember, they don't have to vie for a starting position, and we want to welcome all of those listeners on KJR Radio and at KIROTV.com. We're dipping into our race coverage right now. Let us bring you the players in Heat 2A. Here they are. Grandview on the Lake with Jimmy King at the controls. Chip, it's nice to have a piston-powered boat.
It is. That engine was built to fight World War II. He's picked lane 1, but I don't think he can make it stick.
J. Michael Kelly, they've rebuilt the Graham Trucking boat, Mike.
And J. Michael could be a factor at the starting line in this particular one because he's just inside the Old Boy Alberto and the Elstrom Elam Plus, and that's a position that could cause the other guys some trouble.
Steve David won a week ago in the Tri-Cities in the Old Boy Alberto boat. He'd like nothing better than to win here in Seattle for Art Alberto. Jenny, how are they feeling in the pits?
I think everything's very positive here in the pits. Steve just walked over to his boat, gave me a big thumbs up, even made a little joke with me, inside personal joke. So he's all smiles here.
All right, Dave Vilwalk in the Elam Plus boat is generally not all smiles before a race, Michael. He's all business.
This is all business for him all day. He has to get points. He has to do well every heat. It's just simple as that. And he has so far delivered. But now he's out in the 4 lane, and he's going to have to test how well that boat handles out there.
Jeff Bernard had a win, as we said, Chip, in the earlier heat yesterday. Does he have the speed in this boat?
He does, but he really doesn't need to do much. He's already got a win. He just needs to be conservative, take a 3rd or 4th, and he'll be looking good.
Guard, is he that conservative?
He is conservative, but you know, Steve, the crew's a little bit concerned right now. They found a small crack in the swim step in the back of the boat. They put a small patch on it. That resin is a little bit sticky right now, and they don't expect that patch to last through this heat.
We'll find out. Finally, the U9, the Jones Racing boat, and Dave Williams, Michael, is just really happy to be out there.
They're happy to be out there and fill out a field. It's nice to see Mike and Laurie Jones back in racing here on Lake Washington in Seattle. But David is going to see most of this heat from back behind.
So those are your boats. Those are the drivers. Pat O'Day, you've got a fastest qualifier for us.
Jack in the Box congratulates Dave Villwalk in the Elam plus 154.3 miles an hour. He'll be out in the 4th lane. And there's always an inside lane for you at Jack in the Box where you can get anything on the menu any time of day. Mike, it's all yours.
Thank you very much, Patrick. Let's go racing. And this could be an interesting charge to the starting line and into the first turn just because of the makeup of this heat. Grandview, the Allison-powered, turbo Allison-powered boat on the inside. Graham Trucking right next to him, the old boy Alberto. Then in lane number 4, the Elstrom, FormulaBoats.com on the 5 lane and the 6 lane. Jones Racing, here they come. Very nice line. Let's see if they get it to the line just right. Looks like they may have been right on the money as they come down into the first corner now. We've got a whole lot of rooster tails and a whole lot of speed. And in the inside right now, the Grandview is actually making itself a bit of a factor.
Jimmy King may make me a liar because I didn't think that old World War II aircraft engine could stay in front, but he's got a good start right now.
Well, the engine that won the war, the Battle of Britain, is coming down the back now with Jimmy King, that boat from Evansville, Indiana, inside and the leader. And it has caused a situation for Dave Villwalk because he's outside in traffic with lots of rooster tails between him and the inside of the race course. And he's trying to make up some time now. And already the old boy Alberto's got a bit of a lead on him. So as they come off that corner, Jimmy King is making his owner, Ed Cooper, very proud right now as the Allison comes across the line. First place, a whole rooster tail over the old boy Alberto. And in third and trying to wheel in the old boy Alberto is Dave Villwalk in the Elam plus Pat O'Day the speed.
That Allison engine is singing happy birthday to Seafair at 147 miles an hour.
Important corner down here, Chip, and they're starting to spread out.
Well, even more important than that is we thought maybe one of those guys jumped, but we know officially it's a clean start, so Jimmy King is really doing a heck of a job here.
And he really has some horsepower, whoop, but there was a big backfire in that turbo just now as he enters turn number 2 for the second time around. But Jimmy King is getting a great boat ride, and he's showing us that those old V12 1710 cubic inch engines still have a little bit of poop in them because they can make it. And he's coming down, well, a bit of a fly there, but he's coming down to take the white flag to the final lap, and he's now extended his lead.
Mike, what's more important is this race back here for second place because Steve David got beat by Dave Villwalk in the first heat, so if he can beat Dave Villwalk here, that's going to help him. So I think that race for second place is really important what happens today.
These are quick laps. That last one was at 143 miles an hour for Jimmy King.
Jimmy King looks like he's on his way to the bank here in the third and final lap of Heat 2A. And right now it does not appear as though the Elam Plus is going to be able to catch Steve David and the old boy Alberto, both of them getting a little loose down on the back chute. But on the inside, trying to reel in the whole crowd, is Jeff Bernard now in the Formula1.com, or FormulaBoats.com rather, out of the corner for the last time. And this has got to make the boys from Evansville awfully proud because they haven't been able to put together 3 heats of racing all season long. It's been one disappointment after another. But right now, here's a checkered flag for Jimmy King and Ed Cooper's Grandview on the lake. Second place will be the old boy Alberto, and we're even now again. We're just like we were when the race started as far as points for the National High Point. It was give 100, take 100 in this particular situation.
I tell you what, Mike, that is critical. If Steve David would have got beat on the outside twice in a row, that would have sent a very bleak message for them for the rest of the day. All of a sudden now that team's going to have a lot of motivation.
Well, as Steve said yesterday, his team is giving him a little bit more boat. He didn't show it all in that first
The
heat.
order of finish was Grandview on the lakes with Jimmy King, Alberto, followed by the Elam, followed by the Formula boat.
A particularly good run, though, for Ed Cooper. What a reward that is for them. Jimmy King and the Allison Turbo team out of Evansville, Indiana, have just struggled to finish.
Mike, can you imagine what it would mean to this crowd to see an old V12 Allison win the Seafair race? And I tell you what, with the performance he just showed there, it's possible.
It's absolutely possible. He has to be a contender, no question about it. And Jeff Bernard, although he drove a smart race, had a lot more horsepower than he was actually using, Pat O'Day, and he is going to serve some notice here yet.
Oh, absolutely. He's a sleeper. But can you imagine on 60th birthday for Seafair, if piston engine won this race, would that be sweetness in motion?
That would be just like a flashback, wouldn't it? It would be absolutely incredible.
Gosh.
You know, I think part of the real legacy of the racing down here is the piston engine. And I don't know about you, Mike and Pat, but when I walk around during the week, people approach me all the time. When is the noise coming back? So again, that V12 Allison, there was actually 2 engines they used in that era. One was a Rolls-Royce Merlin, one was a V12 Allison. That is a V12 turbocharged Allison that did the job there.
60 years ago, that was actually a kind of an experimental engine. A few of the boats used it. The old Gale boats did. The Miss Pepsi had 2 of them in there, and there were some wonderful boats that ran that Allison engine when they were war surplus after World War II. Pat O'Day, you remember that? I think you ordered a few of them yourself.
Absolutely, and I remember 1958 when Chip Hanauer, excuse me, 78 when Chip Hanauer drove a turbocharged Allison, and he almost caught Bill Munsey in the Detroit Trophy race. You remember that, Chip?
Key word was almost.
Why don't we right now get everybody up to speed, and if you will, and let them know that we have the official ruling from those down at the truck. This is a clean race. So it stands the way it is, and a terrific run by Jimmy King and the gang with the piston-powered stink potter down there. Nice job, and quite frankly, guys, really a well-run race by everybody. Everybody started, everybody finished.
Steve, let me just give you a little suggestion. The guy that owns that boat, Ed Cooper, is kind of a tough guy. I would not refer to it as a stink pot.
Is that right?
Just a word of warning.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah, I'd be careful with that.
Yeah. No, that's quite an achievement. But, you know, we've been focusing on that big engine, and if you see the big pipes here, that's from the turbocharging, and right here it takes exhaust gas and runs them through those pipes and makes it supercharged.
Well, let's talk to the driver about just exactly what he did down there as Jimmy King is standing by with our guard Swanson in the pits.
Hey, Jimmy, you're shocking. You're surprising people. What's going on?
No, we ain't shocking ourselves. The Grandview and the Cooper family and all the guys they put together, we've been waiting a long time for this. We knew it was in there, but just got to get us in the right position, and she'll run.
You changed out your gearbox last night, lower ratio, that helping the turns?
Yeah, definitely. Not so much in the turns. This thing will go wherever you want it to, but it coming off the corner, we lost a little bit of top end, but the way it comes off a corner, if we can keep it in one piece and keep close to the inside, could have a good day.
Now you're all sweaty. What's going on with that?
Just having fun.
Ray, it's back up to you.
All right, guard, and I'll ask the guys here on the other side of this coin. Great race by Jimmy. Did the other guys, did the Alberto, did the Elam, did they just kind of lay back and protect themselves a little bit in this heat?
No, they couldn't, because Alberto, we got to remember, going back to this lane draw, points are critical now, so there's no way that they were laying back. Elstrom wanted to beat Alberto, and Alberto wanted to beat Elstrom, so they were throwing everything they had on them.
Chip and Steve, I got to tell you, they weren't laying back, because Jimmy King just drove the fastest competition lap of this race,
wow,
at 147.6 miles an hour the first time around.
Seeing that old engine do well makes me wonder if an old driver could do well. Probably.
Don't go there, Chip.
Okay, I'm sorry, I lost my head there for a second.
So the Alberto is about the last one that is slowly coming in toward the finger pier here at the Stan Sayers Pits along the shores of Lake Washington. And there's that big, beautiful U3 Grandview on the lake. Going to be lifted out. Now, they'll check that out, make sure everything is running fine, get ready for their next heat, correct?
Yeah, you know, in the old days they used to switch engines a lot. You don't see that much anymore. Remember how we used to show all these engines, the cranes? Now the engines stay in pretty much for the whole day.
All right, let's take a look at a little highlight action here of Jimmy King in this boat and literally just starting to pull away from the competition, Chip.
Well, the other thing that, you know, we were speaking about that engine, but the other thing they've done with this boat is they've gotten a really good boat ride. And you know, that engine's a lot heavier. The turbine weighs about 600 pounds, but that big old Allison you saw in there, that thing weighs almost 2,000 pounds. Well, that's weighing the boat down. But if you see how nice and aired out the boat is under there, it's not out of control, but it's just like a ballet dancer going across the water. That's a great boat ride.
Yeah, and this young man, Jimmy King, is so overdue for a win. He is a fine driver, an absolutely sterling driver, but he is so overdue for a win, and it would be a delight to see him win here.
All right, let's head down to the water's edge and talk to one of those absolutely sterling owners, one Larry Alberto. He's waiting for his driver to come to shore. Jenny?
Yeah, I'm here with Larry Alberto, one of the sponsors here of the Oh Boy Alberto. Larry, how was that race, watching it?
That was absolutely amazing. I mean, we went as fast as we could. Steve tried to slow slowed Dave Villwalk up a little bit to help on the points battle going into the final. It almost worked, and I think we're pretty happy with second.
Well, Steve's standing right behind you here, so let's just see how happy he is. What do you think?
I think he'll be happy. Hell, winning's a lot better usually.
Well, your throat, by the way, sounds like you've been yelling a bit. Are you going to have your voice by the end of today?
Yeah, a little bit. We got like 400 employees and race fans to entertain, so that's a lot of work.
Great. Well, keep on that screaming. Here's the man himself. Hey, Steve.
How are you?
Good. And you're feeling good right now. Did that piston boat surprise you out there?
No, we knew he was fast. He ran this morning at 150 a lap, and on the inside, that would have been difficult to go around. So the goal was to do the best we could and keep that orange boat behind us, which we did. Not quite as far behind as we wanted, but we did pick up some more points on him.
Great. Well, we'll be watching you in the next races. Thanks so much. Back to you, Steve and Angela.
Jenny, thanks very much. Steve David, congratulations on your run. Unofficially, a second-place finish in the Oh Boy Alberto boat. Again, Grandview on the Lake, unofficially the winner with Jimmy King at the controls and Dave Villwalk in third. Again, that boat, though, Chip, you believe the Elam boat still has the most speed of any of the boats out here.
Actually, I don't. I believe the difference in speed all year between those two boats has been the driver, the driving philosophy. Steve David doesn't take it right to the limit. He leaves a little bit in the bank where Dave Villwalk takes it to the limit. So I think the boats are pretty much dead even.
We have another heat coming up. The two fastest boats, maybe the three fastest boats, maybe the four if you count Jimmy King.
Absolutely.
Now.
He's a player now.
As Pat told us, he the fastest lap here in racing so far this weekend. So the second heat will be coming up in just a couple of minutes. But what do we learn from this that we can take now into the next heat? Who does perhaps lay back, save their parts, save their boats, and get ready for the championship heat?
Well, as we talked about going into this heat, we saw a pattern that lane 2 seemed to be the magic lane. But look at Jimmy King won from lane 1 with kind of an underdog boat. So what that tells me is that water isn't consistent. Some heats there's going to be a nice smooth lane in lane 1. Sometimes it's going to be in lane 2 or 3. So it's going to be guesswork, and I think in the final heat it's going to be luck.
I think it also has something to do with what kind of traffic goes into turn 1 and who's inside of you. Because that particular moment when that boat went in to the corner there, the 3 boat with Jimmy King driving, you knew all of a sudden that everybody else was going to have to work a whole lot harder than they planned to.
It's looking for dry pavement. I'm going to go back to that analogy. When you're going to work and you have patches of ice, you're looking for dry pavement to get traction. These guys are looking for smooth water to gain traction. Every time that prop comes out of the water, it spins. You lose momentum. So they want to keep that prop hooked up.
Hard to believe on a 90-degree day we're talking about icy roads, but be that as it may.
Okay, bad analogy. I'll come up with another one. Give me some time.
Oh, and it is a spectacular day. You were just looking at a beautiful shot from high above of the finger piers here, the pits on the shores of Lake Washington. Normally, this is just a quiet location, and you see some people will come out with their shells and they'll row around the lake. But today, this is one massive humanity between the boats and the fans and the pit crews and all the rest. We are just in for a great day of racing here. This 60th Seafair celebration. Patrick, it's keeping to your liking here, exciting boat racing and lots of people having fun.
Oh, is this just great? The sun is shining down, Mount Rainier's happy, the log boom is filled with boats, and eat your heart out, NASCAR. Have you ever seen closer racing than we've seen out here today? This is beautiful.
Well, let's take a look at some beautiful unofficial results right now as we have them. Again, as we've told you, this was a clean race, and so Grandview on the Lake, Jimmy King gets first place. The Oh Boy Alberto second. Dave Villwalk and the Elstrom team third. There's Graham Trucking fourth. They held that boat together after rebuilding it for this weekend. Formula Boats, and finally Dave Williams and the Jones Racing team.
Heat 2A of the Chevy Cup at Seafair has been brought to you by Roy Robinson Chevrolet in Low Overhead, Marysville.
Congratulations to Jimmy King and the Grandview on the Lake, the Geico photo finish winner of Heat 2B. 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. Call Geico at 1-800-947-AUTO or visit us at geico.com.
So Jimmy King wins Heat 2A. What about 2B? We've got that one coming your way when we come back. Time to go racing one more time. The Unlimited Heats 2B. And here are the headlines. J.W. Myers is now in the U37. How will he do in place of Jean Thierret? Kip Brown's uncle was a pretty good driver in his day, and this young man, Kip, is getting better every race. We'll find out how he does in 2B. Finally, Greg Hopp is doing double duty. The Unlimited Lights, the Unlimited. He's a busy man, and we've got Heat 2B coming your way right now.
Heat 2B of the Chevy Cup at Seafair is brought to you by the Point Casino. Fun 7 days a week, and is presented for Seafair by Tide. If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide.
Here are your votes in Heat 2B. The U22 airbag services is out. Mike Webster will not be racing that boat in this heat. So you have the Mirage boats, Albert Lee, the U.S. Northwest Express with Kip Brown, and Haas Mortgage with J.W. Myers. As we take a look, those boats also out on the course. Your Comcast conditions, temperature 72 degrees, but it is going to warm up, and so will the winds. They will pick up in just a bit. Meantime, we again welcome KJR radio listeners and KIROTV.com and take you to the guys driving the boats coming up here in Heat 2B. First off, we have the Greg Hopp boat, the U100 Leland Unlimited. Heat 1A at 5th place. He doesn't have a very fast boat, Chip.
Desperation. He has lane one. He has to win here, I believe, to have any chance for the final.
The Albert Lee boat, Michael. Brian Perkins is a fine young driver. Does he have enough speed under him?
This is a heavier boat than most, and Brian Perkins drives it as well as it can be driven. The boat has a lot of horsepower, good gearbox, good everything, except it's carrying a little extra weight.
We know that Kip Brown has been taught well by his uncle Nate Brown in the U17 Chip. Can he also teach that boat to go fast?
This guy's shown more improvement. If we were given a most improved driver award, hands down, Kip.
Guard, what are their feelings down at the pits right now?
Oh, they're all excited. They kind of want to stay under the radar. They struggled in Madison, struggled in Detroit, but last week in Tri-Cities, they had a qualifying lap at 160 miles an hour and a top speed of 193. They are ready to go racing this afternoon.
All right, Guard. Finally, the U17, the Haas Mortgage boat. Thierret is out. Myers is in. Mike, what's that mean?
Well, that switch means that Myers has got to get used to driving a race boat. He thought he was just going to be crewing today, but now he is out there. But this is a capable driver, one of your real unlimited hydroplane drivers, and if he can put it together, he's going to try to get a win here, but he's got to do it from the outside. This is a good outside running boat, though.
And Jenny, you talked to JW and his entire family. They're pretty excited.
Oh, they're excited. He's excited too, guys. As he was getting into the boat, he did his pre-boat ritual, giving a fist pump to every single crew member on the team. Got in. He's got his game face on.
All right, Jenny.
You know, the other thing that he's got to deal with, I'm talking about J.W. Myers, is he had no practice laps here. I think it was all Jean Thierret all week, so he's going out here seeing this race course really for the first time today. That's a disadvantage. He was also away from racing. Before John got hurt, he was running his roofing business, so he got pulled out, and he told me that he was not really mentally prepared, but I think this week he is.
I'm just curious, Chip, do you think we'll see Jean Thierret in a boat again?
That's a really good question. I think Jean Thierret and his family have some soul searching to do. I think they have to sit down. This is what I did. I'd sit down every year and say, is it worth it? Am I getting the joy and the satisfaction for the risk?
I mean, for all intents and purposes, this man was dead.
He was dead. And he's a very Christian man. He's very, very spiritual. And he told me that when he took that second gulp of water, he knew that was the end of his life. So he said he has a new appreciation for life. And when you've had a near-death experience on one of these boats, as I've had, you do. Every morning you wake up, you know that it's a gift.
Well, we're happy to have you up here as our gift to the broadcast gods. Meantime, speaking of which, the broadcast gods, we have one out at the start-finish line. That's Pat O'Day, and he's talking about the fastest qualifier.
And Jack in the box congratulates Fred Leland, Jim Harvey, who's crewing the boat, and Greg Hopp driving it. They got their wish, the inside lane. They qualified at 145.893 miles an hour. And Jack in the box, where you can get your wish of anything, anytime, on the menu, every day, Mike Fitzsimmons.
Thank you very much, Patrick. And, you know, I think this Leland team might surprise you just the way the Cooper team surprised us in the last heat. This is a boat that does have a little more speed than I think they've shown thus far. Jim Harvey's been twisting wrenches down there. He's no slouch, and the guys that are working on this are no slouch, and the guy at the wheel is no slouch, and he's in lane number 1. So let's see what happens now. as Greg Hopp comes down. We got JW just a little bit early. I think he might possibly go across the line too early. Yes, he did. And that just takes him out of it. But Kip Brown got a good start in the 17 boat as they come down into that first corner. And on the inside, being a little bit conservative, it's Greg Hopp as they go through turn number 1, Chip.
I love J.W. Myers. I have to say he's a good friend, but he's really struggled. I think it's because he hasn't prepared, for this season. Jumping the gun there was the last thing he needed to do.
And they're going to let Kip Brown know that happened by radio, so he isn't going to try to put a whole lot of pressure on J.W., and J.W. will yield the position as he has already done. But now this means that Kip Brown has to worry about Mr. Greg Hopp, and no longer. Greg has just swallowed a ton of water up in that corner, and he is just about down off plane at this point. Across the start-finish line, your leader, even though physically isn't going to be the leader in terms of poking his nose across.
Everything's changed, Mike. Everything's changed. It's a clean start. You're watching a race for first place for these two young guys.
Well, now that comes as a surprise because I saw a digit or two on my clock here before they came across the line. But if that's the official word, then we've got ourselves a boat race, and that's the word that each of the drivers are going to be told. And JW is heading down the back chute. Now, what was that first lap, Pat?
Well, that was 139 miles an hour. Greg Hopp has restarted after being dead in the water in the north turn.
All right, we are in the second lap now, and as we come around for the second time here, J.W. Myers in the 37 boat has the lead. I apologize. I thought he jumped the gun. I saw a digit or two on our unofficial clock, and I figured he was early. He backed off trying to make sure that didn't happen, but Kip certainly made a great start as well. Unfortunately, it doesn't appear as though Kip Brown has the ability to even chase him down right now as we've started to string out just a little bit. What was the speed on that one?
140.447.
JW's getting some speed out of that boat, Chip.
JW, this team needs a shot of good news. This team has been through the worst experience you can have in racing. JW winning this heat, not assuring him a place in the final, but giving him a good shot is going to be a real shot of adrenaline for this group.
And the disappointment, if you will, seems to be the Albert Lee. They have not run real well at all here. They're trailing a distant third place overall, and in fourth place, way back a half a course length, and coming down just to end lap number 2 right now is the Leland Unlimited boat with Greg Hopp driving. He swallowed a lot of water. All right, checkered flag is going to come up for the winner of this heat, the U37 Haas Mortgage, with J.W. Myers, who wins another heat on Lake Washington after a long dry spell up behind the wheel. Second place, Kip Brown, driving the Northwest Express red dot boat, and he comes across the line. And way back there, coming down now, almost a half a course length behind, it is the Albert Lee, and that is Brian Perkins.
Mike, if I could talk about this Albert Lee team that you're looking at here for just a second. They're not really looking to do anything here. They know that the boat they have is over 700 pounds overweight. That's like driving around with a cow on the rear wing. What they're doing is they're building a team. They have a new boat they're going to build, they're going to introduce next year. So what they're working on is gearboxes, engines, their communications, getting the right staff. You watch this Albert Lee team next year, you're going to see a real change of it.
That was a big disappointment for Greg Hopp. I think he caught a rooster tail, didn't he?
He got a little tight into a wake there and then swallowed some water. But he did finish. He restarted. He did finish. He picked up some points. That's what it's all about. You got to finish in order to get there to the final. You got to get points.
He hosed himself down and restarted and finished fourth for this event.
You know, last week when it was so hot, I was hosing myself down almost hourly. Greg Hopp just hosed himself down there.
How difficult is that, by the way, to jump from boat to boat, to go from an unlimited light to an unlimited on a day like this? That's a lot of work.
It's so hard. I never did it. Once I got into the unlimiteds, I just made a deal I wasn't going back because I wanted to specialize, and you get a feel for the 6,000 pounds and the way it feels. When you go back to these little light boats, you kind of have a over sense of confidence. You don't really respect them like you should. So I thought for my own health, I better stick to the unlimiteds. But I admire Greg. He's gone back and forth very, very well.
So the Haas Mortgage boat unofficially again coming out on top with J.W. Myers at the controls. And again, I agree with you, Mike. It looked like it was going to be very, very close to being not a clean start, but as we hear, it is.
We have an unofficial clock here, so you know, I'll call them the way the clock looks like. I wonder if we could see that start again.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Just to see what happened, because I still had a you know, 1 point something seconds on the clock when I saw the yellow boat go across.
The green flag dropped well after JW went across that line, so I assumed he...
Flaggers are a little slower than digital clocks, of course, but it did appear that way to us. And if they say it's a clean start, then it's a clean start. The officials have the absolute line. We're slightly south of the line where we see it at just a bit of an angle, so it appears differently to us.
Well, let's check in if we can right now in the J.W. Myers pits. That's Haas Mortgage and the guy who drove this boat to a second-place finish yesterday. Jenny is with Jean Pierret.
Yeah, I'm here with Jean Pierret. And John, how was that to watch your fill in there?
Well, it was really good. You know, CJ did a great job there. He started lane 4 and he won this race. So I'm happy for the American family team and this whole crew. They deserve, you know, this good race, and I'm really happy for him.
Now, you were up on the top of the trailer there watching it. What were you doing? Were you communicating with him?
No, I was talking to Scott. You know, Scott communicates with him and tell him my opinion and give him some advice. And he took a great start, and that was, you know, to finish the race right there.
Great. And how are you feeling? We know you were out of breath a little bit yesterday. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good today, you know, but I need more time to recuperate, you know. It was harder for me this morning than yesterday morning, but we'll get in shape for Evansville.
Good. Well, we wish you the best. Hope your health recovers. We can't wait to see you out there again.
Thanks a lot.
Back to you, Steve. I'll talk to JW as soon as he gets in.
All right, Jenny. And
I think he answered our question.
Yeah, if he would be driving again, at least he's going to attempt, he says, to drive in Evansville.
What he told me, I asked him what he's been suffering from, and he said when you suffer from lack of oxygen, everything hurts. He said his scalp hurts, everything hurts, so he's got a lot of recoup to do.
There's JW as he's trying to untangle from the line.
He's a Seattle product. He started racing. His family races outboards and has raced outboards for generations. He literally grew up in a basket in the pit area racing outboards. So this is a big moment for him right now.
As he steps onto the finger pier, and he's getting a hug from all of his friends. First off, let's head down to Gard in the pits as well. Gard?
All right, Kip, let's talk about a little bit about the race. Was it a little odd basically having only 3 boats in that heat?
Well, it doesn't hurt my feelings one bit. I'd like to run by myself if I can.
What do you think about the boat?
Boat ride's good. U.S. Northwest Express and Active Water have been helping us out all year, getting us to the point where we are today. And we're getting better and better every time. Unfortunately, we got a little close out there, J-Dub and I, and I had to get out of the throttle, or I did get out of the throttle, whether I had to or not. And that led us to get a second place finish. I really hope to win that heat for U.S. Northwest Express.
This has been a survival season for you guys, and you're starting to pick up the pace a little bit. Are you satisfied with that second?
I'm satisfied because it gives us decent points going into the third flight. Like I said, that was my best chance all year to win that heat, to win a heat, my first heat. And I'm sorry to the guys that didn't happen, but I'm excited for the rest of the day. Love having KIRO here. Thanks, you guys.
All right.
And I just wanted to say hi to my daughter Taylor at home. I love you, sweetie. Be good for Nan.
All right, Braves, back to you.
All right, he learned well from his Uncle Nate. Here are the unofficial results, and you can tell, by the way, how hard those guys work in that cockpit. He was out of breath. The Haas Mortgage Investors, American Family Insurance on top. There's Kip Brown's boat, the Red Dot boat second. Whirlpool Miss Albert Lee, the Leland Unlimited, Buffalo Federal Savings Airbag did not start. That is the unofficial results of Heat 2B.
Heat 2B of the Chevy Cup at Seafair is brought to you by the Port Casino. Fun 7 days a week.
Congratulations to J.W. Myers and the Haas Mortgage Investors, the Geico photo finish winner of Heat 2B. 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. Call Geico at 1-800-947-AUTO or visit us at geico.com.
And when we come back, it's always exciting. May not be as fast as the big boats, but these boats really do fly around this course as well. Unlimited Lights, Heat 1A. We'll be right back. They're not as big, they're not as fast, but they are noisier and we love them. Unlimited Lights, Heat 1A. Here are the boats. The lineup brought to you by Muckleshoot Casino. It's the WarningPower.com boat, driven by Will Muncie. TravelZone.com with Chris Grant at the controls. The U.S. Army Auto Parts, Joe Souza. Paul Becker will be behind the wheel of the Miss Critical Logic. And the Interstate Batteries boat, Ryan Mallow. Those the Unlimited Lights of Heat 1A.
Unlimited Lights Heat 1A is presented for Seafair by Graham Trucking, the intermodal container solution.
And here come the boats approaching the I-90 floating bridge on a beautiful day, inside of 30 seconds, and we turn it over to the voice of hydroplane racing, Mike Fitzsimmons.
Thank you very much, Steve. And on the inside lane, it's going to be Paul Becker in the Miss Critical Logic. On the outside, it's going to be Ryan Mallow. He has the supercharged boat, must remain on the outside for one full lap before he can come over. Naturally aspirated boats stay to the inside, the supercharged boats to the outside, but they of course make more speed. Here they come to the line. Looks like we're going to get a legal start there. They're all going to be right on time. And it is Ryan Mallow who pulls from the outside lane, but he's got a great big course to drive at least for one lap. And on the inside, Paul Becker in the Critical Logic has the better track. And Chip Hanauer, as they go through that corner, Becker has advantage.
Becker has the advantage with a short way around the course, but as you said, Ryan Mallow in the yellow boat right there on the outside, he's got a lot more horsepower to use up that extra real estate he's got to cover.
He certainly does. This is, of course, a supercharged boat, the yellow one on the outside and a normally aspirated boat on the inside. And Mallow is really pulling away, and once he crosses the start-finish line at the end of lap number one, Pat, that's when he's able to move over.
Oh my goodness, look at the excess of horsepower he has there, powering out of that turn.
But I have to say, he's using more space than he needs to. I mean, he's way out. He's got to stay outside for one lap, and boy, he's way outside. If you look at all this distance here, he doesn't have to be that far out.
Okay, and as you watch Chip, now that he has overlap on the boat behind him, he may now come across right down into lane number two, and that's exactly what he's doing. He's closing the door now. He legally can do that because once he's run one full lap, he can then start to move around. If he's got a rooster tail, he takes the inside lane, and he's pulling away with the lead quite easily. Paul Becker in second place in the Critical Logic boat. Third place, that's Will Muncie in that smaller race boat. His big boat got damaged, and so he's driving this one for the first time today. Although he has driven it many times in this particular class, it is smaller than the other boats. Joe Souza in fourth, and bringing up the rear at the moment, that would be Chris Grant.
Mike, we should explain what a supercharged engine is in the yellow boat that you're seeing there on the screen versus what we call a normally aspirated boat. And the big difference is a supercharged boat forces the air into the engine. It actually drives the air into the engine, where in a normally aspirated boat, it just gets as much air as it can suck through. So that rammed air really gives it a lot of horsepower.
And he's making some pretty good speed at 106 miles an hour for that first lap for Ryan Mallow, and he's got this thing under command, the superior horsepower, obviously the reason. But Mallow also is in a very tight battle in the National High Points. Nobody's going to catch Kaylee Perkins out of this particular race, but he is in a good battle for second and third.
Ladies and gentlemen, one thing to note as we celebrate 60 years of Seafair, these little guys are going faster than the big guys went back at the beginning of Seafair.
Although their course is a little bit smaller, but yes, they are. They're making some awfully good horsepower with these boats. Okay, little traffic up there in the north turn now. Ryan is negotiating that just fine in the UL-19 interstate batteries. Gets out from under all the wakes, and he's going to go on past Will Muncie in that particular position now as he comes across in lap number lap number three rather, and get the checkered flag. So it's Ryan Mallow who's got the victory, and that's an important step up in points for him.
I think what we're seeing here is even though you give that supercharged boat the disadvantage of having to be on the outside and go the further distance, it's too much. That horsepower just overwhelms everything. I'd like to see the lights go to a one engine so everybody's got the same horsepower.
Well, they do it for parity purposes, obviously. There are a couple of drivers. I mean, Kaylee Perkins has a normally aspirated boat, and she's been able to hold them off so far 4 times in a row.
Yeah, her boat's running unbelievably well. That team is so well oiled, and she's got a lot of experience now. Nobody's touched her this year.
So Ryan Mallow gets first victory here in the Unlimited Lights. That's an important step toward the final heat for him, and he needs to serve notice to Kaylee and others that he's here to stay with a couple more races to go on the circuit past Seattle. This is very important that he perform well here. I'm sure he's quite satisfied.
Mike, and we should talk about the lanes, the difference between the lights and the Unlimiteds. The lights are going to fight for lanes all day long. Is that right?
Yeah, until a minute 45 before the start. Then they have to come past the start-finish line, and by that time, that's their score up. And that's the end of it. Then they must hold those lanes. And of course, the normally aspirated boats can fight for the lanes on the inside, but the supercharged boats, they can only fight for outside lanes.
And so 5-Star Racing notches a win here in Heat 1A for the Unlimited Lights. That's Ryan Mallow climbing out. Let's head down to the pits and find out just what kind of race it was. Here's Jenny.
Thanks, Steve. Well, Ryan's here with a big smile, Ryan.
Yeah, 400 points definitely gets us on board. It's a good way to start the weekend right now. I had Paul on my inside. He's real fast, so I don't know what happened to him, but just happy to be here. Thanks for Interstate Batteries, and looking forward to a really good weekend.
And I heard you guys were trying to just show a message to those other Unlimited Lights out there. You think you showed them?
You know, I think there was a lot left in the boat, that's for sure. But we just, like I said, we just wanted to get on the board, get some points, and you know, start getting ready for tomorrow, I guess.
Well, good luck with that. Back to you, Steve.
All right, Jenny, and here are your results again. That was one of the heats that was taped yesterday in early racing, Unlimited Lights Heat 1A. Interstate Batteries on top, Warning Power second, the U.S. Army Napa Auto Parts third, SuperTravelZone.com, and then the Miss Critical Logic did not finish the race. The results of Heat 1A. When we come back, 1B coming your way. Don't go away. Well, looking for a little tighter racing here in Heat 2A of the Unlimited, or 1B that is, in the Unlimited Lights. Here are the boats, lineups, Muckleshoot Casino, Graham Trucking, Happy Go Lucky, our good friend Greg Hopp. King and Bunnies with Kelly Stockland at the controls. Rod Burke is powering the Power Punch, Roxy Radio 94.5. Misdiagnosed with Bill Strain, and Foster Care Vitamin Water. Kaylee Perkins, she's leading the bunch. And these are the Unlimited Lights, Heat 1B.
Unlimited Lights Heat 1B is presented for Seafair by Graham Trucking, the intermodal container solution.
Again, 72 degrees with about 6 miles an hour on the wind. This is the Comcast course conditions. We're set to go racing here again, Mike Fitzsimmons.
This is going to be another one of those inside-outside situations. The 56 boat is down, and that is the misdiagnosed. They misdiagnosed something on the inside. We're going to have boat number 11. That's the Power Punch with Rod Bork. Kaylee Perkins in lane number 2. In lane number 4, a supercharged boat. That's the Graham Trucking Happy Go Lucky. This is going to be one of those matchups between the inside and outside boat. More horsepower for Greg Hopp as he goes down into that first corner. But Kaylee Perkins has a very well-performing boat, and she's staying right with them, Chip Hanauer, as they go to the apex.
Yeah, unfortunately, she's got someone inside of her, but again, you're seeing Greg Hopp with that supercharged engine, just like we saw Ryan Mallow, but here comes Kaylee up on the inside. Even though she's got less horsepower, she's giving Greg all he can handle.
And you want to remember that Greg Hopp must remain outside of her, even if he has a strong lead, until he comes down and ends lap number 1 at the start-finish line. But Kaylee is losing ground to him, and he is pulling ahead, almost a rooster tail at this point. And at some stage, Kaylee Perkins is going to have to decide whether or not she wants to race him side by side or give him the lead and not jeopardize the equipment. She is 1,955 points ahead of Greg Hopp. That's a big distance in the national points chase. Greg Hopp finishes in first position. Lane number 1 now is something he can overtake if he wants to, if he has a sufficient overlap.
As a driver at this point in the year, like Kaylee Perkins, when you have a point lead, you all of a sudden change your philosophy a little bit. You don't risk everything to win a race. You simply do what you got to do to get that national championship. But she's giving Greg all she can handle.
Nevertheless, up the back chute, she is giving Greg all he can handle. She's going to stay in his mirrors just in case he has a mistake or hears some footsteps.
Absolutely. She's at the trail of his rooster tail, but she's flying hard out there. She's got everything to gain just with this second place finish right now.
Absolutely, she does. Greg Hopp, getting a really good boat ride out there, now has a rooster tail lead and can close the door, but it doesn't look like he's interested in doing that quite yet. One more lap to go for Greg in the Graham Trucking Happy Go Lucky. Kaylee Perkins comes across the line in second place, and of course she's driving the Foster Care Vitamin Water boat. In third place, it's the King and Bunnies across the line.
there's a message being sent if you look at both of these heats that brute horsepower seems to overcome the inside lane. So that's something we have to watch all year, to these big supercharged boats like the boat you're seeing right now. Again, that's the engine that actually rams that air into it, have the advantage over the normally aspirated boats no matter what lane they get.
Of course, if they mix up in the final heat, I think Kaylee Perkins has got a lot more under the bonnet of that race boat and may show it all there in the final, because then, of course, the trophy's on the line. Right now, it's just a matter of being strategic. Unfortunately for the misdiagnosed, they didn't diagnose the prop quite right, and they threw it, and that's why it went dead in the water before the start. All right, checkered flag out for Greg Hopp, and he finishes virtually cruising in the happy-go-lucky boat, the Graham trucking boat. Kaylee Perkins picks up second-place points in the Foster Care Vitamin Water.
And not to be overlooked is that Kaylee Perkins has won 4 races in a row coming into Seafair this weekend.
That's right, and a lot of that has taken some thinking rather than some just hard charge driving. So that definitely says something about the kind of strategy that Kaylee and her mentors are working with. All right, so there's Greg Hopp coming up the back chute now in a cool-off lap, and he's got a victory. Pulls a little bit closer in national points, but there's a big gap, and it's owing in part to the fact that he had to drive the Gold Cup in Detroit and didn't get to the North Dakota race that Kaylee Perkins was able to attend and participate in. So that's part of it, but not all of it. She's also outdriven him a bit this year, and that's the other half of the story. But they got to be happy down there in the Graham trucking pit area, because this is a strong win head-to-head with a boat that they've found hard to beat so far.
Well, Mike Fitzsimmons mentioned it during the course of the race. Bill Strain had a little bit of a problem on the misdiagnosed. How about that? How often do you see the prop come flying off the back of one of these boats? There you go, $2,500 to $3,000, just dropping to the bottom of the lake, never to be seen again, and Bill Strain getting a ride in. Meantime, the winner and second place are with our 2 pit reporters. Let's head first to guard, and down there with Kaylee.
All right, thanks, Steve. And Kaylee, you finished second. You wanted first, but I got a feeling you're kind of holding back a little bit.
A little bit. You know, you never show all your cards in your first hand. We're more concerned about making sure that we still have a good boat for the final heat. So, you know, not going to break anything on Saturday.
And you just keep racking up points.
Yeah, it seems to work out that if you finish heats, you know, you're going to end up well in the national championship standings. So that's kind of the goal of this year, was just go out and let's finish every heat, and so far so good.
Now, the last time we talked was about a year ago at this event, and since then you have some big news. I know you just got engaged. You got to show me this rock. Look at this rock on her finger. Good thing that's not at the bottom of Lake Washington, huh, fellas?
Hands are so shaky. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty exciting. So, yeah, we got a year from now, so lots of time to plan. It's hard to try and do it around boat racing, though, so.
All right. Good luck the rest of the weekend.
Thank you very much.
All right, let's toss it over to Jenny with the winner.
Thanks, Garrett. I don't know about topping that engagement, but we can pretty much say we've got a happy driver here, Greg. You took Kaylee.
Yeah, I knew we were going to have to do it from the outside, so we've been working on our tune-up all weekend. We had a top qualifier time with the Graham Trucking Happy-Go-Lucky Pump Tech boat, and it was just put a brand new Scott Baker propeller. I hear there's a guy out there looking for one, so maybe Scott Baker can sell him a prop. But
look at you being eBay on demand. Well,
that's right. We got everything here if anyone wants anything. But
great, thanks so much, Greg. And your hand might be sore because I saw you giving 5 high fives, and I think there's more to come. Back to you, Steve.
All right.
All right, Jenny, again, racing from yesterday, the Unlimited Lights. That was the results. Here they are, the Muckleshoot Casino official results now. Graham Trucking, the Vitamin Water boat with Kaylee at the controls, King and Bunnies, Power Punch, and Misdiagnosed with the prop at the bottom of the lake. The results of Heat 1B. And when we come back, we've got more racing coming your way. Lights Heat 2A. Don't go away. It is time to go racing again. Unlimited Lights Heat 2A. Let's check out those boats taking part here today. The Graham Trucking boat with Greg Hopp aboard. TravelZone.com and Chris Grant. The U.S. Army, this time it's Vince Sidaro in the pilot seat. Interstate Batteries with Ryan Mallow, who won earlier today. Foster Care Vitamin Water with Kaylee Perkins. This should be a pretty good Heat 2A. As we come out, those are the Muckleshoot lineups. And as we come out and take a look at the course, that's Heat 2A.
Unlimited Lights Heat 2A is presented for Seafair by Sickle Steel Crane. Quality lifting service since 1937.
Now here is the race course. Inside of 30 seconds. Again, a little bit choppy. The wind is picking up. And there is your temperature. It's a toasty 87 degrees. Let's head down to the start-finish line and Mike Fitzsimmons.
Well, this should be a dandy. We've got the two best supercharged boats and the best of the normally aspirated boats running with Kaylee Perkins at the wheel. Inside, it's going to be Vince Sidaro in the 9 boat, the U.S. Army Napa Auto Parts. Lane number 2, it's Kaylee. Lane number 3, it's going to be the Interstate Batteries with Ryan Mallow. And lane number 4, it's going to be the Graham Trucking with Greg Hopp. Both Hopp and Mallow a little late to the starting line, but Mallow seems to have a good head of steam as they move down to that first corner. But Kaylee in the lane number 2 also has an excellent position, although she's pretty tight on that rooster tail.
I think what we're going to end up seeing is a race between these two boats, the boats on yellow boats on the outside, and the 2 boats on the inside. The 2 boats on the inside, those 2 boats right there are naturally aspirated. The boats on the outside have superchargers. Could be 2 separate races.
Kaylee Perkins with a slight lead, but a whole lot more horsepower on the outside goes to Ryan Mallow now as that Interstate Batteries overtakes the boat to the Foster Care Vitamin Water boat in the upper corner, though Kaylee keeps the pedal down and is going to come out of the corner virtually side by side with Ryan Mallow. This is a great head-to-head duel. These 2 boats are very, very competitive in their own specific designations. As you see, they come across the start-finish line virtually dead even. Very, very quickly as well, Pat O'Day, 102 miles an hour.
We're looking at such a sensational driver of the future in Kaylee Perkins. Underpowered, yet she somehow gets the most out of that red boat every time around.
And Chip Hanauer, she is really in a boat race right now because on the outside now, Ryan Mallow's got some horsepower, and Kaylee's going to have to really put her foot in it.
As a driver, you can only do so much. She did everything she can do. She beat Mallow at the start line. She has the inside. She's driving a great race, but hey, brute horsepower sometimes just rules the roost.
And at this point now, of course, he's completed 1 lap, so if he can get overlap, then Ryan Mallow can move in on Kaylee, and we can have a little pinching going on a little closer than the boat on the outside would otherwise have been permitted to do. There you see the lead that Mallow has over Kaylee Perkins at this time. It's a full rooster tail. He could now come across, but I don't think he's going to need to do that. He's got plenty of speed.
Now, what Kaylee Perkins has got to start to worry about now is third. If you look back here, you see that third-place boat, again, with a supercharger and a lot more horsepower trying to run down Kaylee.
That's exactly right. That is Greg Hopp in the Graham Trucking Happy-Go-Lucky, and he's trying to reel her in if he can. At the moment, however, Ryan Mallow has everything going his way in the Interstate Batteries, and he is in contention for second place in the overall national points.
Kaylee's just gone dead in the water.
Kaylee popped something, yep, and the 2 yellow boats now are all by themselves out there. Kaylee Perkins' boat. No, that is not Kaylee.
No, that's not Kaylee Perkins.
That is not Kaylee. That's the 3 boat, the TravelZone.com.
Right.
That's Chris Grant, who, by the way, was in second place points-wise. All right, the win goes to the Interstate Batteries. Second place is going to be the Graham Trucking. That Interstate Battery boat had a very, very strong run. Kaylee, well, now wait a minute.
No, there's
Kaylee?
2 red boats down.
Kaylee is down also.
We've got the 2 yellow, which is interesting because usually it's the non-supercharged boats. You're seeing Kaylee Perkins right there with the non-supercharged boats. They are usually more reliable than the supercharged boats. So it's interesting that it's the naturally aspirated boats that are breaking and not the big supercharged boats.
Kaylee was 2 3/4 laps toward a second place finish when headed for the floating bridge. The engine gave way. That's a shame.
Unfortunately for her, now that's going to hurt. Now she's out. She was at the beginning of the race out 1,955 points. So toward the national high point, she's still going to have a comfortable lead. But toward winning here on Lake Washington, things start to look bad because you need to have the points to be able to get into the final, or she may have to do it in the heat that is of course the wild card tomorrow, because she will not score any points this time.
It is interesting, though.
Kaylee has never actually won in Seattle. As great of career as she's had and a skyrocketing career, as great as the year she's had this year, not been beat. She's never won in Seattle, and trust me, in that family, winning in Seattle would mean a lot. She's looking at the back of the boat, and that usually means it's a propeller. And when you're in the boat, an engine malfunction feels much different than a propeller malfunction because of the vibration difference. So usually if a propeller breaks, sometimes this whole back of the boat can be busted, the deck up, but it doesn't look like there's a lot of damage. The boat doesn't look like it's taking on water, so at this point we don't know if it's engine or propeller.
Being an unabashed Kaylee fan, she was ahead of 2 other supercharged boats when her engine expired. She was chasing Mallow. She was doing another great job.
Well, she did. Maybe she made a mistake that I never made, and that she got engaged. You see what happens when you get engaged between boat races? Your engine breaks. So maybe that was a problem.
Well, it looked like it was going to be a pretty tight race. Then all of a sudden at the end of the race, that's where they got interesting. The spin out there by Chris Grant in the travel zone. Going dead, Kaylee Perkins out there on the course. She climbs out. The winner, unofficially, Ryan Mallow in the Interstate Batteries boat, and he's with our Jenny Hogan.
Yeah, Steve, Ryan, 2 heats, 2 wins today.
Yeah, 800 points, pretty exciting win in the second heat. We had some really good competition, so we're pretty happy right now.
Yeah, people were saying that's a precursor to might be in the finals. Anything you're going to do different?
Well, we've been on the opposite. We've had bad luck and done really good in the finals, too. So I'm just going to kind of continue to do what I've been doing, I guess, and see how it pays off tomorrow.
Great. Well, good luck. Thanks. Back to you, Steve.
So that was again yesterday. Here are your Muckleshoot Casino official results with the Interstate Batteries, Graham Trucking, U.S. Army, Super Travel Zone, and Foster Care Vitamin Water not finishing. Neither of those 2 boats finishing there at the end. From Heat 2A of the Unlimited Lights, right now live out over the water here along the shores of Lake Washington. You're looking at a couple of OH-58Ds, highly accurate navigation system permitting these helicopters to do what they do best, and that is light-armed scout helicopters. Part of the KeyBank Air Show and Seafair. See, we're more than just boat racing. We've got lots more coming your way, including more boat racing. Heats, Light 2B, when we come back. Let's continue our coverage of the Unlimited Lights. This is Heat 2B, and here are the lineups from Muckleshoot Casino. WarningPower.com, King and Bunnies, Power Punch, Roxy 94.5. The Miss Critical Logic, misdiagnosed, is not going to get off the trailer. Remember, they threw a prop earlier. That's Unlimited Heat, Lights Heat 2B.
Unlimited Lights Heat 2B is presented for Seafair by Graham Trucking, the intermodal container solution.
Here they go, just inside of 40 seconds now, continuing their score up on the waters of Lake Washington. And here is Mike Fitzsimmons. And Mike, we've already got a problem out there.
Yeah, kind of sloppy already. Will Muncie, unfortunately, in the traffic aid warming power is kind of out of it because of a penalty for improper score up. As they come down the line, lane number 1 is going to be the Miss Critical Logic with Paul Becker. Lane number 2, it'll be the UL 11 Power Punch, Roxy Radio 94.5 with Rod Bork. And in the 3-lane King and Bunnies, that's the supercharged boat on the outside as they come down to make their start now. King and Bunnies a little bit early. Oh, it might have been perfect, might not have been perfect. We'll have to see what the officials say about that one. But obviously, Paul Becker thought he was going to be too soon, backed off considerably, got passed right quick by the 11 boat, the Power Punch. They go through the lower corner. A bit of a sloppy start there, Chip Hanauer.
Well, I have to ask myself, what is all this space there for? Kelly Stockland started out in like lane 30 and for no apparent reason, and he stayed way out there. I don't know whether he jumped the gun or not. That's going to be close.
And backing away at first at the line, but now getting the throttle back up again and taking the lead. That is Paul Becker in the Miss Critical Logic, the 14 boat, as he goes up into turn number 2. But on the outside, that's where Rod Stockland with the King and Bunnies is really strong on the outside with superior horsepower. But the question is, did he jump?
And again, look at how far out he is. There's no reason he can move in there. And I would say Kelly Stockland, that's in 3rd place right now, would be out in front if he would just move over in here and shorten that course up a little bit.
Well, interestingly enough, now he can move over. You have to finish 1 lap, and if you are in a particular lane, you must stay there, even though he was in a much wider lane than he needed to be.
Yeah, he didn't need to be that far out, but maybe he's just playing.
Now he's closing it down a little bit. But he has to have overlap, of course, to be able to come across and run side by side with Paul Becker. We are told it was a clean start, so Becker was wise because he come off the throttle. He would have been over too soon and managed to be able to profit from that. Well, they're all catching up to the rooster tail of Will Muncie, who is a whole lap down at this point, plus a penalty as they come through the upper corner again for the second time around. That is Paul Becker, who's got your lead in the yellow boat with the blue cowling.
Yeah, now
looks like Muncie has lost to cowling now.
Becker just barely missed hitting it.
Down the front straightaway now, we have a virtual tie at the start-finish line. Becker on the inside there. You see the King and Bunnies with Kelly Stockton on the outside. This could be a drag race because they are closer together now, and the orange boat, that one has a whole lot more power.
He does. And now also Becker's got to deal with this guy up here that's making some rough water for him, and he's just hoping that Kelly Stockton leaves him a lane, and indeed Kelly Stockton left him more than a lane.
Yes, he did, and not only that, but they're coming into a little bit of traffic, and Becker's going to try to use that just a little bit.
If Becker doesn't win this race, it'll be because of the cowling coming off of Muncie's boat that slowed him down. But he's got the lead.
He has the lead going into the turn for the last time, and there you see on the outside, buried in the rooster tail, that is Mr. Stockton, but I don't think Mr. Stockton came into that corner very well, and he isn't going to be able to make up the real estate for the last dash to the start-finish line. Checker flag out. Paul Becker in the Miss Critical Logic is going to take the win in the UL 14. Second place, that will be the King and Bunnies with Kelly Stockton. And, of course, the boat going across the line right now is Mr. Muncie, and he's a lap down. Third place overall. That will be the UL 11 Power Punch, Roxy Radio 94.5 with Rod Morton.
Well, that was a very interesting race driven by Kelly Stockton. At the start, he was way, way out there. I don't understand why quite out so far. And I think he had a boat capable of winning this race, but Paul Becker did what he needed to do, stayed in tight, and came away with the victory.
One interesting thing is that Becker's boat, even though it is not supercharged, has a good ramp up. It ratchets up to speed very rapidly.
That's the guy that won last year. He had a heck of a boat last year, and he did a bang-up job as a driver last year.
And you also notice that Becker just does a whale of a job in that boat in the turns.
Yeah, now we may possibly have had some other incidents on the legalities because everybody's running too fast for a cool-off lap. And right now, the King and Bunnies has got a checkered flag waving from the start-finish line again, and now he backs off. There may have been an additional lap for the lead boats. We'll have to see what happens. Now Muncie's coming down. He's a lap off. Well, actually, he gets the checkered flag. This is his third. So we'll have to sort that out a little bit because the officials, at least the flaggers, are indicating something different from what appeared to be the finish order.
And we have to say that we don't get the same information from the lights that we do from the Unlimited. The Unlimiteds actually give us an official, so we know exactly what's going on. But the lights, we kind of have to do what the drivers do and just go by the flags.
So Paul Becker looking to win again here at Seafair, wins Heat 2B, and he's with our Jenny Hogan.
Hey, yeah, Steve, we got Paul here. And Paul, what were you just telling me?
Well, we broke in the first heat, and my crew of young Newport High School graduates are now seniors in college. They tore the whole boat apart, pulled out the motor, pulled off some parts that were just badly mangled, put it all back together not more than 30 minutes before the heat, ran like a champ.
And didn't just run the full way, ran an extra lap there.
Well, we just kind of cruised on out because I saw Will coming on the inside, and I didn't think it was safe to cut in front of him, cut across the course.
Good. Well, congratulations and good luck tomorrow.
Thank you very much. We're looking forward to it.
Back to you, Steve.
So again, yesterday, that on tape, Unlimited Lights, Heat 2B, and here are the official results now. Critical Logic on top, King and Bunnies, followed by Power Punch, WarningPower.com, and Misdiagnosed did not finish. Again, that prop somewhere at the bottom of the lake.
In high definition, you're watching the Chevrolet Cup at Seafair on KIRO 7.
Don't we wish we were out there, kind of relaxing a little bit, enjoying, having a lemonade, and listening to KIRO 7 on the TV, listening to us on KJR Radio, splashing around in the water, watching the air show and the boat races. tell you, it could not be a better day, but it is going to get warmer as this day goes on, and the wind is going to pick up just a bit, and that will mean a few problems for the boat racers. But right now, for all the families on the shore and fans out on the logboom, it is some kind of great day. Glad you're all with us here on KIRO 7. We're going to head down to the awards stand for the presentation of awards for all the Unlimited Light heats so far.
Thanks, Steve. The winner of Heat 1A being presented by Troy Graham, son of Rob Graham of Graham Trucking.
Hi, I'm Troy Graham. On behalf of Graham Trucking, I'd like to congratulate Ryan Mallow and the UL19 Interstate Batteries team for winning Unlimited Light Heat 1A.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks. Just want to first of all thank Graham Trucking for coming on board and sponsoring this event. Everyone at Seafair, Interstate Batteries, Tom Eckenberg, my owner. Great heat.
And Ryan Mallow, the winner of Heat 1A. Here with the presentation for the win in Heat 1B, Derek Graham, son of Rob Graham of Graham Trucking.
On behalf of Graham Trucking, I'd like to present Greg Hopp and the Graham Trucking Racing Team with the Unlimited Lights Heat 1B trophy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, first off, I'd like to thank Rob Graham and the entire Graham Trucking Company and some of our other sponsors, Pump Tech and Happy Go Lucky. And going to congratulate the UL19 guys on the first heat win. They set a world record in that heat, running one of our Ed's automotive engines and Scott Baker propellers. And then we broke their record back. So anyway, I'd like to thank everybody. Thanks. Woo!
Here with the presentation of the win for Heat 2A, Mike Whittle from Sickle Steel Cranes.
Thank you, Ryan. Congratulations on winning the Unlimited Light Heat 2A and to Interstate Batteries for a great win today.
Thank you very much. We want to thank Sickle Steel Cranes for sponsoring the heat. My boat sponsor, Interstate Batteries. Tom Eckenberg, my owner, my whole crew that worked so hard, and Ed Trehe for Ed's Automotive and Machine.
Here with the presentation for the winner of Heat 2B is Troy Graham. He is the son of Rob Graham from Graham Trucking.
Hi, on behalf of everyone at Graham Trucking, I'd like to congratulate Paul Becker and the Miss Critical Logic race team for the winning of Unlimited Light Heat 2B.
Thank you very much. I've got to say thank you to my crew, young college men who got it done. We tore up the boat in the first heat. They spent 4 hours working their little tails off. They got it done. We went out and it was perfect. Got to thank Critical Logic, the people who get your application right from the start. Eastside Tent and Awning Underwater Sports. Thank you very much. Thank you, Seattle.
And now back to you, Steve.